You've probably heard that communication is key in any relationship. But what if I told you that the most important conversations aren't always the ones we speak aloud? Think about it for a second. When you're with your partner, when you're in a conversation, how often are you aware of how you're moving, how your body is reacting to the words being exchanged? Your partner's body language is constantly speaking to you, just like yours is speaking to them. Sometimes the words we say don't fully express what we feel, but our body never lies. Today, we're diving deep into exploring the role of body language in relationship dynamics and how it shapes the connection between you and your partner. Think about the last time you were in a heated conversation. You were trying to express your feelings, but your partner wasn't saying anything. They were sitting there. Maybe their arms were crossed, their body was turned slightly away from you, and all of a sudden you felt like they were emotionally closed off. Did you notice it when their body language became distant? It made you feel isolated, like they weren't fully present with you. Body language is incredibly powerful, and it speaks volumes about how connected or disconnected two people are in a relationship. Sometimes it's not about what's being said, but how your partner is showing up physically. Let's explore the impact of physical proximity. Imagine you're sitting next to your partner, but there's an invisible space between you, a slight distance, not enough to be noticed by anyone else, but you feel it, don't you? That subtle pullback, it can be an indication of emotional detachment or even discomfort. On the other hand, when your partner leans in, when their body is turned toward you, that's a sign of engagement, warmth, and a desire for emotional connection. Proximity is such a key player in how relationships flow. When we are close, both physically and emotionally, it signals to both people that they are in sync, that the bond is strong. Now let's talk about touch. We all know that touch can be a form of love, affection, and intimacy, but what happens when the touch fades, when it becomes infrequent or feels mechanical? Instead of the tender, loving gestures, it's more of a pat on the back or a quick peck on the cheek. This change in touch is something you can't ignore, because it can reveal a lot about how emotionally available your partner is or isn't. Sometimes when touch starts to fade, it's a sign of emotional distance or even dissatisfaction. But when the touch is consistent, when it feels natural and full of warmth, that's a sign of emotional closeness and trust. Let's take a closer look at facial expressions. Have you ever been in a conversation with your partner, and they said everything was fine, but their face told a different story? Maybe their eyebrows were furrowed, their lips tight, or they couldn't quite make eye contact with you. When their words don't match their facial expressions, it's a sign that something deeper is going on. Their face is giving away the real emotions they're experiencing. It could be frustration, guilt, or confusion. But whatever it is, their body is telling you more than their words ever could. It's so important to pay attention to those small, yet significant changes in facial expressions, because they are often the first clue to what's really happening in your partner's heart. You might also notice when your partner's posture changes. Think about how they stand or sit when they're around you in the beginning of your relationship. Their posture might have been open. They would lean in when they talk to you. They would sit close, maybe even face you directly. But what if that starts to shift? Now they seem to sit back, their shoulders rounded. They avoid facing you. This shift in posture can be a sign of emotional withdrawal or disconnection. It's a signal that something is happening, something unspoken that's causing them to pull away. But when their posture is open, their shoulders are relaxed, and they face you directly, it's a sign of emotional availability and a willingness to engage. You might be wondering, how do you know when your partner's body language is truly communicating something? The key is consistency. When their actions align with their words, when their posture matches their tone, when their facial expressions support the message they're trying to convey. That's when you know that there's honesty and openness in the relationship. But when there's a mismatch between their words and their body language, when their face is saying one thing, but their body is saying something else, that's when you need to pay closer attention. Because body language doesn't lie. It's the silent truth teller in any relationship. Take a moment to reflect on your own body language. How do you show up in your relationship? Are you open, engaged, and emotionally available, or are you sometimes closed off, distracted, or distant? Your body language is a reflection of your emotional state, and if you're feeling disconnected or unsure, it can show in how you move, how you sit, how you look at your partner. Think about how you're engaging in the relationship, because when you begin to change your own body language, it can have a profound impact on your emotional connection with your partner. Now, let's dive into mirroring. Have you ever noticed that when you and your partner are really in sync, you start to mirror each other? You might find yourself making the same gestures, or even adopting a similar posture. This is called mirroring. And it's a subconscious way of saying, I'm in tune with you. It builds rapport and strengthens the emotional bond between you. When you mirror your partner's body language, it shows that you're on the same wavelength, that you understand them, and that you're emotionally aligned. Mirroring is a sign of deep connection and comfort. On the flip side, when mirroring stops, or when one person starts to pull away, it can signal a shift in the relationship. It can mean that the emotional connection is weakening, and it's time to reassess what's happening beneath the surface. Mirroring is one of the clearest signs that your body language is either building or breaking down your connection. So the next time you're with your partner, notice if you're mirroring each other, or if there's a noticeable gap in how you're both moving and engaging. Let's not forget about personal space. How do you and your partner navigate the space between you? In the beginning, you probably didn't need a lot of personal space. Everything was shared. Your time, your energy, your physical space. But over time, as things change, sometimes the distance grows. When that happens, it can indicate emotional distance. Too much space between you can signal that one or both of you are feeling disconnected or detached. While a healthy relationship thrives on closeness and physical presence, space is equally important because it gives each person room to grow and maintain their individuality. As you explore the role of body language in your relationship dynamics, remember that it's not just about reading the signals your partner is sending. It's about understanding how your own body language is contributing to the overall energy of the relationship. When you become more aware of the messages your body is sending, you can create a deeper, more meaningful connection, one that's not just built on words, but on the silent conversations you're having through your gestures, expressions, and presence. Now, if you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share because you will learn tons of valuable information in the next video. Stay tuned for more insights on how to strengthen your relationship and create a deeper connection with your partner.